redirective parenting just doesn't work, which I know may ruffle some of your feathers, but maybe I should phrase it a little differently, because there are no right or wrong methods of parenting, but there are causes and effects. So certain inputs are going to produce certain results in your children. And when we look at a parenting ideal of redirective, of moving the child's attention from one thing to another, can be useful in some instances. But what we see so often in families that come to us is they're frustrated because a child will get to the point emotionally where they're tantruming or fighting or hitting or throwing or stomping or laying flat on the ground, and there's no amount of redirection that's going to stop the behavior, correct the behavior, keep them from doing it in the future. It's just a matter of moving the child from one thing to the next. If you don't know, redirective parenting is the idea that you guide a child's attention towards what you want them to do, which is fantastic. And in some situations, great. When you're in your living room and you have control and the child is behaving calmly, you can direct them from one thing to the next. You can then direct them towards dinner or towards playing or towards bedtime. The problem comes when you must get them to do something. For instance, right here I'm sitting at the edge of a 14th century Venetian bridge, which has about a 30-foot drop that you can't see down into the water. Now, if my child is coming this way and I'm over there, or they've walked up this way and I can't grab them per se, and they're coming this way, to redirect them would be very difficult, as opposed to having a command that they would just listen to, stop, and they were to stop. Then we could come deal with the situation. Or, you know, depending on what blogs you're listening to, you read on the matter, depending on which teacher you read, a lot of the things that are taught about this particular method is to value the child's emotional state, to validate their emotions, to allow them to feel what they're feeling, and then, after calming down, redirect them into another space. Which is all well and good, except for the fact that what happens when you're not there? So let's say you've got two kids and they're playing together in the basement and you're not there. How do you redirect them then? Are you just hoping that they're going to choose one thing over the other? What if one child's emotional reaction to having a toy taken is to take another toy and to hit their brother over the head with it? It's going to be pretty difficult to redirect them from, hey, look at this over here. Look at these lovely toys over here. You should come play with these, instead of hitting your brother in the head with that toy. Or what if the emotional response of the child is to put their arms up in the air and to scream and run straight, run out the front door and go straight towards the road? Well, the natural consequences of getting hit on the road and not being alive anymore are quite severe. So allowing the child to just feel whatever they're feeling and then direct them after would require you as a parent to be over top of them all the time, which can be very time consuming, because I'm not sure if you know or not, being a parent, there are other things to do than just parent. There's like, oh hey, you got to prepare meals and go shopping and, you know, have a life and, you know, be sane. You can't be dealing with the kids all the time. So where the idea that I want to direct them from this thing to this thing is great, fantastic. It's in addition to the ability to say calm words and have them do certain things. So for instance, come should be the ability of the child to look at you, get attention, turn around, and come to you. It shouldn't require having to either physically or, oh, look over here, look what mommy's doing over here, look what daddy's doing over here, this is really interesting. A long-term use of redirective attention means that the child's always going to be looking for whatever is the most interesting. Well, what if they're in a place in life where you can't do what's most interesting, where you're not able to let them feel what they're feeling, and you're not able to give them positive reinforcement because it just needs to be changed. The action needs to be changed, the behavior needs to be changed. Instead, we as parents, knowing what's best for them long term, just like eating vegetables and beans and meat is essential for a child's development, doing some things that are uncomfortable are necessary for their development. So if you gave the child a choice emotionally, okay, well, you can choose whatever you want to eat forever. Well, they're probably going to choose things that aren't going to be the best for them. We as parents know that their response to what should I be eating, well, you should be having some fruits and some vegetables and some meats and some nuts and some other things than candy and donuts. And so those emotional responses are the same way. Sometimes you don't get to respond with ah and run out the front door. Sometimes you need to say, yes, mommy, I'll put my shoes on so that the family can function. I look at it this way. When you have a team of players, you can pick any sport you want, any team sport. Let's take football, for example. You've got a whole bunch of people on a field all working towards the same goal. And that goal is score more points than the other team. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to stop them from scoring points, and then we're going to score some points ourselves. And together, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. We've each got our role. And together, when we do that really well, we're going to score more points than the other team and win. If we look at our family as a team where mom and dad are deciding what's going to be done in the family, what's going to be learned, what's going to be focused on, and children's roles are to be underneath that and to do the things that are chosen. So you can choose whatever you want for your kids, but having it be like, oh, hey, let's choose to work on putting others before ourselves, or lifting others up, or caring for others, and then continually putting them in situations where they're to choose to do something for somebody else with no gain of themselves, to put the other person ahead. And we achieve that. And then, we're going to, as a family, choose how to enjoy different foods at the table so that we're not just eating chicken and fries. We can choose, hey, a lentil stew or a tomato soup or red Thai chicken curry, because it's tasty. And when you learn that and understand it and you have a variety of foods, it's good for you in the long term. And so by taking a plan, by choosing a plan and actually being able to say words and have your kids do things allows you to plan ahead. It allows you to choose their behavioral responses. It allows you to coach them on how they're to respond to things. How do you respond when somebody does something bad to you? Do you just turn around and smack them in the face? Do you hit them? Do you punch them back? Do you yell and scream? Do you go ah to whoever the nearest authority is? Do you react calmly and work to resolve the situation? Do you make new friends? Do you compliment them? You can choose to do all sorts of things, but the thing is to choose. And so when you're making a plan of parenting, when you're deciding what to do in the raising of your own children, don't leave methods off the table. Don't say, I'm just going to do redirective parenting and I'm just going to stick to that, because you're going to hit some holes. You're going to hit a part where they do not want to do something, and you're going to have to be their parent and tell them you have to do that, and you have to do it well, and you have to do it joyfully, because that's what's needed right now in order for this team game to achieve adulthood together. You may think, I'm only going to use positive words. I'm not going to use any corrections. I'm not going to use any punishments, which is all well and good, except for the fact that no punishments means no bad stuff for wrong behaviors. Well, if you have no bad stuff for wrong behaviors, well, then you're not going to be able to differentiate between, hey, this is wrong, we're not going to do it. Here's what happens when you do it. For instance, there's a natural consequence to falling off this bridge. There is a chosen consequence to not doing something the way that we as a family are going. And so having that consequence as the fallback of, this is what happens when you don't do it right. We're going to go do it right. And so come up with a plan that allows you to raise children 5 years ahead of where they are today. Instills the emotional responses, the physical responses, the kindness responses, what words to use, how to use them, how to treat others, and you're guiding them 5 years ahead using all of the methods available. It can be a redirection, it can be positive, it can be punishment-based, it can be choosing things that they removing privileges they don't like. Of course, each child is different, and we're to raise them up in the way that they're already going. But because emotional responses are chosen, we can teach them and we can change them. Because how we feel about somebody or something is a choice, it can be changed. And so as parents, not only are we to be guiding their actions, but we're also to be guiding their emotions. I know the start of it sounds really harsh. The thing that we see, I know the start of this video sounds really harsh, but the thing that we see in coaching parents on how to raise children, well, who don't suck, is that when the people are coming to us when they're at their wits' end of saying, my child just hits everybody, hits mom, hits brother, smothers brother, tries to shake the baby's head, and won't listen. Well, they're not listening. That's not true. They are listening. They hear you. They know what you're saying. But they don't think they have to. And if they believe they don't have to, they're not going to, because there's a battle going on in your home. And that battle is for control. Child wants to be in control. Parent should be in control. And that battle's being waged every day in the household. And we can win that battle. And it doesn't have to be mean, and it doesn't have to be harsh, but we can win the battle. And we can make our calm words be the boss in the home, so that when you say something, your kids do it, and do it joyfully. And do it because they love you, and do it because they know what's expected of them, and they can do that. So anyways, come join us. We got a Facebook group, private Facebook group, where we teach all of this stuff. It's in the description below. Go ahead and click through. I'd love to see you there. Good luck parenting.